In-laws gave me fake gold jewelry every Christmas, while insulting my poor parents. So when they demanded money to support my lazy Sil, I returned all the fake jewelry back, and watched them squirm in silence. I've always felt like an outsider around my in-laws. Even though I have been married into the family for years, they've never truly accepted me as one of their own. It's always been clear that they see me as different, like I don't quite belong. A big part of this, I believe, is because of where I come from. You see, my background is very different from my husband's. He was raised in an upper middle class family. His childhood was filled with comfort and stability. He lived in a gated community, went to top-rated schools, and had access to all the best things. Growing up, on the other hand, I didn't have those same opportunities. I grew up with very little. My family struggled to make ends meet, and we often had to go without things other people might take for granted. My parents themselves came from very humble beginnings. They had almost nothing when they started out, but they worked incredibly hard to give me a better life than they had. They didn't have much money, but they gave everything they could to make sure I had the basics: food on the table, clothes to wear, and a roof over my head. I still remember nights when they would quietly skip dinner because there wasn't enough food for all of us. But no matter how little they had, they always made sure I ate well. Their love and sacrifices meant everything to me. I went to a regular public school, not a fancy private one like my husband. I didn't have big birthday parties every year, and we rarely went on vacations. But even without those things, I didn't feel like I was missing out. However, because of these differences in family, I often feel looked down on by my husband's family. It's as if they think I'm not good enough, just because I didn't come from the same kind of life they did. Years ago, when I met my husband in college, one of the first things I noticed about him was how sad and distant he often seemed. He carried a quiet heaviness, like something was always weighing on him. As I got to know him better, I began to understand why. Unlike my parents, who were always present and involved in my life, his parents didn't give him much attention or emotional support. They weren't there for him in the ways he needed them to be. His father was always wrapped up in his job, constantly working and rarely around, and even when he was home, he didn't seem interested in spending time with his son or getting to know him. His mother wasn't much better. She was more focused on her own social life and spent most of her time with friends instead of with her children. My husband grew up feeling neglected and emotionally alone. Even though he had all the material comforts, he also has a sister who has dealt with serious struggles of her own. She has been constantly in and out of rehab because of her drug addiction, and that added even more stress to the family. Instead of receiving support, my husband often had to deal with issues around him on his own. It was clear that despite having money and a comfortable lifestyle, he missed out on the kind of love and stability that my parents gave me. Sometimes I wonder how my husband turned out to be such a grounded, kind person after growing up in that kind of household. From everything he's told me about his childhood, none of it sounds warm or comforting. In fact, it's hard to imagine growing up in that environment and coming out the other side without being completely broken. But somehow he did. Our relationship began with friendship. It was always easy to talk to him. He was the one who eventually asked me out, and from there everything just fell into place. The rest, as they say, is history. One thing I always appreciated about him was his honesty. He never tried to hide or sugarcoat anything. When it came to his family, from the very beginning he told me what they were like. He warned me that they were extremely concerned with appearances and cared a lot about what others thought of them. He said they could be judgmental, cold, and quite snooty at the time. I believed him, but I don't think I fully understood just how right he was until I started spending time around them myself. When I met his mother for the first time, it was just a few months after we started dating. Right away I could tell she wasn't happy about her son being with me. On the surface she acted polite and friendly whenever I was around, but I quickly realized it was just a show. Full story in the bio.